was the third Saturday of June, and it was time for little Joey to go to confession. Every third Saturday of June, he marched off to St. Anthony's to go to confession. So he's walking up to the church with his friend, and he says, I'm going to go first today. I got to go first today. I got an idea. And his friend goes, what do you mean you got an idea? It's confession. What kind of idea are you up to now? What big idea you got going on? He goes, I got this. So Joey goes into the confessional first, kneels down. Father Guido's in there, moves the slide over. He says, well, bless me, Father, for I have sinned. Well, he's about 13. I guess his voice didn't change yet. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. I have been with a loose girl. And Father Guido goes, now, Joey, I know that's you. You must tell me her name. He goes, well, Father, I will never reveal her name. Father Guido says, was it Tina Zaccaretti? Father, don't ask me. I will not reveal her name. All right. Was it Marie Santonetti? Father, please, don't ask me. I'm not going to say anything further. All right. Was it Linda Mazaret Pilati? Father, my lips are sealed. And Father says, well, I admire you respecting the honor of the young lady. But you must say to our fathers, you must not serve as an altar boy for 2 weeks. Now go in peace and sin no more. So he marches out of the confessional, all excited, goes to his friend. His friend says, what happened? What happened? What are you smiling for? What did you get? He goes, well, I got 2 Our Fathers, but I got 2 weeks vacation and 3 really good leads. He went and spoke to his father, Father Guido of the church. Today we're going to talk about our Father which art in heaven, our Father's love, and a little bit different of a relationship than what little Billy experienced on that day, the third Saturday month of his confession. When I was thinking about today and preparing for today, I considered sharing a story that I shared in this church a long time ago. And I was going back and forth. I said, we have some new people here, but we have a lot of people that are at the foundation of this church that probably heard this story before. And I shared this going back and forth with Patricia Lawson, and we bumped into each other in the hallway. She says, well, why don't you share the story again from the perspective of where you are now, from where I was as a first-year ministerial student, and where I am now, a little bit further along the path, at a different spot in the path, this positive path for spiritual living that we call unity. So I said, all right, that feels good. So I thought about it. So what I want to do is take you back to my very, very first talk, and when I was preparing for that. I was a first-year ministerial school at the Urban Ministerial School in Detroit. I think it was just the first semester. And I got a phone call from Reverend Sheila Cook. And she says, come in a little early, I want to speak with you at the school. I need to talk with you about something. So I went in early to one of my classes, and she said, I got a phone call today from the Unity of Flint. They like to support our school, and they have over the years. They were asking us if we had any students that would be ready to speak. And I said, oh, great, good for you. Yeah, I'm a first-year student, can't be thinking about me. She goes, well, I told them that I had a fourth-year student and a first-year student that I thought would be ready to step out and do some speaking. You're that first-year student. Well, so I'm trembling a little bit, but I'm looking at September. This was a date in December. So I said, okay, I'll do it. Have them call me. They called me, and I scheduled the date for December 26th, and all is well. Yeah, I can do this, but I never had any really formal speaking training. Didn't do the Toastmasters. I had one speech class in college, but it was a very simple, basic thing 347 years ago. So I said yes, and I didn't think about it anymore. Wrapped up in a full-time job and in classes. But the day kept getting closer and closer and closer, and it was time to start thinking about it. I didn't have any ideas, what am I going to do here? And we're moving through the holidays, moving through classes, moving through oral examinations with the school. All of a sudden, it's the beginning of December. Still nothing. I went to some ministers that are now my colleagues and said, what do I do? Nothing's really coming. They said, don't worry about it. We don't usually prepare to the Thursday before we speak. You got to be kidding me. I need at least a month and a half. So I said, just relax. Don't worry about it. Pray about it. Do some meditation, and you'll get there. Well, I still was stubborn and wanted to have a couple of weeks of prep time. Nothing was coming. nothing was coming, nothing was coming. So we're getting closer and closer and closer. Then it really dawned on me, wait a minute, this date is December 26th. Christmas is on Saturday. There's no real service there on Saturday, so I'm actually giving their Christmas talk then. I go, whoa. Uh-oh, bro. So I go into meditation that whole week, and nothing's coming, and I'm praying, and I'm meditating, and there's nothing coming. And finally, it's the day before Christmas Eve, so that would have been a Thursday of that week. And I'm in meditation, and I'm just resting there, waiting for it to come, and I get my direction. And it says, all it says is, very clearly, go to the mall. I don't go to the mall. I don't do the mall. That few weeks before that, I just had a conversation with Reverend Sheila at the school that says, you know, God and the universe has no sense of humor. So I get this message, go to the mall. God knows I don't do malls. I don't go to the mall. I don't go to the mall when they're closed. I don't drive by the mall. I go around the mall so I can avoid the mall. So I'm walking in the mall. I felt like, Reverend Sheila, we got to talk about that sense of humor. So I'm walking in the mall. I got my pad folio with me, and I'm saying, all right, I'll do this thing, this minister thing. I got that voice loud and clear to go to the mall. So I'm in the mall. The day before Christmas Eve, it's packed. This is Laurel Park Mall here in Livonia. And there's a line a mile long to see Santa Claus, and there's this attraction in the food court, and people standing in line for whatever that was. And I'm here in the mall with my pen and paper and pad, just ready for the little old man to approach me, or the little old lady to approach me and come up to me and tell me what I'm supposed to deliver to the wonderful people of Unity of Flint. Okay, ready. All right, ready. So I sit down and I'm just relaxing, and probably an hour went by, and I'm sitting in the food court there and just watching this entertainment they have set up for the children. And honest to goodness gracious, there's this little man on the opposite end of the food court kind of looking at me. And I'm going, wow, can this be it? Really? This works this way? I like this ministry stuff. This is cool. It can only get better, right? And he's looking at me, and he walks a little bit further. He's looking at me, and it's like he's making sure that I'm the guy that he's supposed to deliver this message to, this divine message. I love this, a divine message right here in the mall that I don't like going to. So he comes around a little closer, and he's getting closer and closer, and he's looking and looking and looking. It's right, comes right up to my table. I open my pad, I click my pen, I'm getting ready. He gets down, eye level with me because I'm standing up. I reach out, shake his hand, and he says, "Are you Guy Gordon from Channel 7 Action News?" I'm saying, that can't. Reverend Sheila, we have to talk. It's that sense of humor thing. So that kind of burst my bubble a little bit. I said, I can't forget. As developed, it became part of the story. So I move around to another position in the food court. And I ask again, show me where time got. So I get another message, loud and clear. Pay attention to what you don't see. That's crystal clear. Pay attention to what you don't see. So I excuse myself. Reverend Sheila, you're not going to believe it. Pay attention to what you don't see. Okay, all right. That's how you want to play it. So I sat down again, and I just moved into that place of letting go. I lost that attachment to outcome. That's part of the new thing that came to me from where I am now, observing that story. I let go of the need for something to really happen. So I started to pay attention to what was happening around me. And in this food court was this giant, the circumference of this, it must have been about 4 feet off the ground, like a giant inner tube. And the center was like trampoline material with springs and all that kind of bouncy thing, probably 36 feet in diameter. And within that, there was these 2 poles rising towards the ceiling of the mall. And from the top of the poles were these bungee cord type things coming down, attached to a harness. And all the children were standing in line. Maybe they just got done with Santa Claus, and they were standing in line to go on this. So they would come up and take turns to be fastened in the harness. So I'm just observing, passing the time, trying to notice what I don't notice. And I do take notice of this one little girl that was next. probably about 4 years old, just bubbling over with excitement. And her father brings her over, lifts her up on the trampoline, and she rushes over to the harness. The attendant fastens her in, and she starts jumping and jumping. And with the assistance of the bungee cord, with not a care in the world, confident and secure in her harness, she just rises higher and higher and higher, up and down. And I'm going, whoa, I don't think I could even go that high, because I would be fearful. But she's just going up and down, just so much joy on her face. Just beautiful seeing that joy. And then all of a sudden, her turn was over. The attendant grabs her, settles her in, undoes the harness, and in all her excitement, naturally she lost track of her father. She runs to the edge where her father was when he dropped her off and let her go, but he wasn't there anymore. He had retreated back into the crowd and was taking pictures of his daughter. But she was there, and all of a sudden, this little girl that was 30, 40 feet up in the air, secure in her harness, was terrified. She went from joy to a look of fear because her father wasn't there. Frantically, she was scanning the crowd, looking for him. But she was looking down, and that must have been 100 feet at this point to her. She had no longer had the harness with the bungee cords, and she no longer had her father there. Finally, her eyes locked with her father in the crowd. That 100 feet that it must have been to her vanished, and she jumped and ran into her father's arms with so much love, and all that joy and all that happiness came rushing back, just like she was attached to the bungee cord, and she was secure again in her father's love. Ah, that just washed over me. If you could see me without the suit coat on and the sleeves of the shirt on, I still have the goosebumps and the hair rising on my skin right now. Because in that second, I knew exactly what those messages were that I received. To notice what I wasn't seeing. You know, I could see the love expressing. I could see the love expressing from the Father. I knew that, but it's more than that. It's that feeling. It's that understanding that comes to us when we see the divine expressing it at work. The look on the little girl's face when she met her father's eyes and saw her father's love. Wow. I saw that. And I continued to see that over the next couple of days. I remember going to Big Boys over on Plymouth Road. Perhaps I was waiting for my twin flame to show up for dinner or something. I don't know. But I was just sitting in the parking lot, and I watched this gentleman help his elderly mom get out of the car and into the wheelchair. It seemed like it was taking over 20 minutes. It seemed like that he was helping her get into this wheelchair and into the store. And I said, that is love. That is God. And if you can't see God, look at this love expression. And then I knew, and I started paying attention to our Father's love, how it expresses in so many different ways that we just don't see sometimes when we're looking through the perspective and the lens of only our human eyes. Because that Father's love is meant to be felt in the heart. So then I considered more some of the things of where I'm at along this positive path for spiritual living. And I picked up a couple of these things just this week with Reverend Eileen Brown at the Unity Convention. And one of the speakers was talking about the three phases of God, and that really kind of related to my story here. And those three phases of God would be God as we look at God in unity. God is all. The divine infinite. Everything that is God. God is power. God is love. God is wisdom. Not a being that is all powerful, that is all love and loving. But all the love there is God. All the power there is God. All the wisdom there is God. The divine infinite. So hard sometimes for some of us, for most of us, really, to even comprehend the incomprehensible of all that God is. But that's the divine infinite, and that's how we look to God and do thought on this positive path for spiritual living that we call unity. And then there's God as within us. And we first ask the question, is our God big enough when we look at God as the divine infinite? And then within us, we look at that divine presence in us, my divine nature, my divine identity. Is my God me enough? Am I in touch with that Christ of my being, that I am presence, that inner presence that lives me and moves me and breathes me? The third phase of God, and the one that we're talking about today, is God as divine relationship. To move that in our humanness, to comprehend in a way that God is loving, that counselor, that wisdom that we can go to, that our Father which art in heaven, in divine relationship. And when we develop that divine relationship, knowing these other aspects or phases of God, we can have a very beautiful relationship with the divine. We can have what I didn't see there, all within us, all exploding in a way with divine love that we can go to and say, Our Father which art in heaven, that presence within me, hallowed be thy name, hallowed, holy, sacred, complete, right here in me. All that is. And I can have that relationship. We can all have that relationship, that divine relationship, when we go to our Father, which art in heaven, right here in our midst, at hand, and within us. And it feels good. It feels good to go to that place and develop that divine relationship. To become that little girl or that little boy if we have to, and approach the divine in that way when we need to. I want to move to a place right now and share a love letter from God. In closing here. This is an intimate message from God to you. My child, you may not know me, but I know everything about you. I know when you sit down and when you rise up. I am familiar with all your ways. Even the very hairs on your head are numbered, as you were made in my image. In me you live and move and have your being, for you are my offspring. I knew you even before you were conceived. I chose you when I planned creation. You were not a mistake, for all your days are written in my book. I determined the exact time of your birth and where you would live. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. I knit you together in your mother's womb and brought you forth on the day you were born. I have been misrepresented by those who don't know me. I am not a distant and angry God, but I am the complete expression of love. And it is my desire to lavish love upon you. Simply because you are my child and I am your Father. I offer you more than your earthly father ever could, for I am the perfect Father. Every good gift that you receive comes from my hand, for I am your provider and I meet all your needs. My plan for your future has always been filled with hope, because I love you with an everlasting love. My thoughts toward you are countless as the sand on the seashore, and I rejoice over you with singing. I will never stop doing good to you, for you are my treasured possession. I desire to establish you with all my heart and all my soul, and I want to show you great and marvelous things. If you seek me with all your heart, you will find me. Delight in me, and I will give you the desires of your heart. For it is I who give you those desires. I am able to do more for you than you could possibly imagine, for I am your greatest encourager. I am also the Father who comforts you in all your troubles. When you are brokenhearted, I am close to you. As a shepherd carries a lamb, I have carried you close to my heart. One day I will wipe away every tear from your eyes, and I'll take away all the pain you have ever suffered on this earth. I am your Father, and I love you, even as I love my Son Jesus. For in Jesus, my love for you is revealed. He is the exact representation of my being. He came to demonstrate that I am for you, not against you, and to tell you that I am not counting your sins. Jesus came to demonstrate how you may have life and have it more abundantly. His life was the ultimate expression of my love for you. He showed you how this joy, the joy that was in him, may be in you so that your joy may be complete. If you receive this gift, you receive me, and nothing will ever separate you from my love again. come home, and I'll throw the biggest party heaven has ever seen. I have always been Father, and always will be Father. My question is, will you be my child? I am waiting for you. And the beauty of this love letter from God is this was put together, and every line that I just read was directly from Scripture, moving from the wisdom literature, moving actually all the way from Genesis, where it says, for you were made in my image, Genesis 1:27. You may not know me, but I know everything about you. Psalm 139, verses 1. I determined the exact time of your birth and where you would live. Acts 17:26, and on and on and on and on. I am waiting for you. I have always been Father and always will be Father. From Ephesians chapter 3, verses 14 through 15. Our Father, which art in heaven. You know, I remember back when I was preparing this, I went out, when I was done, I used to write all my talks during that time, and then I would read them using my laptop, for some of you that were here earlier in those days, and I would read them using my laptop as a teleprompter. But when I was finished preparing parts of a talk way back when that included this story, I remember going out on the deck, crossing the lake, and just basking in the love of God. Just feeling that divine inner presence. Feeling that Father, which art in heaven and within me. So I invite you to go there and spend some time with your Heavenly Father this day. Spend some time in prayer and meditation, basking in the love that God is. And I just lay there and said, Father, I love you and I know you love me. I open my mind and heart to you, and I ask you to pour more of your love into me, more and more and more and more, and I rest and I receive your divine grace, which is always flowing. And then I remembered, I'm reflecting on love, how we can't really hold on to it. We have to be in that flow, and we have to give it away and push it out. So we receive and we get in the natural rhythm of that love. Push it out and share it and radiate it to the world. So I invite you to do that this day when you visit your Father, which art in heaven, to also fill yourselves in your heart with the joy of this Father's Day. All of you. If you're in a position that perhaps you had a challenging relationship with your father, or perhaps your father has moved on and transitioned to his next plane of existence, go there too. If it's forgiveness that needs to be done, do that for yourself and release it. Give yourself the gift of that freedom of love. If it was a beautiful relationship, visit your Father in the comfort and the presence of your heart, where our Father which art in heaven can come to you. But live there. Live in that love. Live in that joy. Remember that little girl. Live in the beauty that that love is and that Father gives us when we consider our Father which art in heaven.